There's something that happens after narcissistic abuse. Something quiet but profound. Something you can't quite name at first, but you feel it. A stirring. A shift. Like something inside you that's been asleep for years is finally opening its eyes. This is your awakening. It doesn't come with trumpets or clarity or sudden confidence. It comes in small moments. You're in a conversation and you notice you're not editing your words anymore. You're not calculating how the other person will react. You're just speaking. And it feels strange, almost foreign. Because for so long, every word was measured, every sentence was a potential landmine. Or you're alone, and instead of that familiar anxiety, that need to fill the silence with noise or distraction or someone else's presence, you feel something else. Peace. Not happiness, not yet, but peace. A quiet recognition that your own company isn't something to escape from. Or someone crosses a boundary, and instead of explaining it away, instead of making excuses for them, instead of wondering if maybe you're being too sensitive, you just know. That wasn't okay. And you don't need anyone to validate it. You feel it in your body, in your bones. The truth. This is what awakening feels like. It's the slow return of your intuition. The voice that got drowned out by gaslighting and manipulation and constant doubt. That voice is coming back. And with it comes something you haven't felt in a long time. Trust. Trust in yourself. You start noticing things you couldn't see before. Patterns. Not just in the narcissist, but in yourself. The ways you abandoned yourself to keep the peace. The ways you silenced your needs to make yourself smaller, more manageable, less threatening. The ways you performed love instead of receiving it. And here's what's powerful. You're not noticing these things to punish yourself. You're noticing them to understand. To finally connect the dots between your past wounds and your present choices. Between what you learned love was supposed to be and what it actually should be. You're waking up to your own story. Not the story they told about you. Not the narrative where you're difficult or damaged or too much. But the real story. The one where you're a person who was hurt. Who adapted to survive. Who loved someone who wasn't capable of loving you back. Who stayed because leaving felt impossible. Who lost yourself because that's what narcissistic abuse does. It erases you slowly, so slowly you don't even notice until you're almost gone. But you're not gone. You're here. And you're waking up. This awakening shows you things about yourself you'd forgotten. Your strength. Not the fake strength that comes from pretending you're fine, but real strength. The kind that says, I survived something that tried to destroy me. The kind that kept you breathing on days when you didn't think you could. The kind that got you out or is getting you out, even when everything in you is screaming to stay, to try harder, to give one more chance. You're waking up to your feelings. For so long, they told you your feelings were wrong, that you were too sensitive, that you overreacted, that your pain wasn't valid, and you believed them. You started questioning every emotion, analyzing every reaction, wondering if you were the crazy one. But now you're learning that your feelings are information. They're telling you something important. When something hurts, it's because it's hurtful. When something feels wrong, it's because it is wrong. You're not defective for feeling. You're human. And your emotions, the ones they tried to convince you are the problem, are actually your compass. They're guiding you back to yourself. You're waking up to your power. Not power over someone else, but power over your own life. The power to choose who gets access to you. The power to say no without guilt. The power to walk away from anything that diminishes you. The power to demand respect, consistency, honesty, real love. For so long, you gave your power away. To keep them happy, to avoid conflict, to maintain the illusion of a relationship. You made yourself powerless because that's what they needed. Someone they could control. Someone they could mold. Someone who wouldn't challenge them or see through them or expect reciprocity. But something has awakened. And once you feel your own power, once you remember what it's like to stand in your truth, you can't unfeel it. You can't go back to being small. You can't pretend you don't know what you know. This awakening isn't comfortable. It's not easy, because with it comes grief. Grief for the time you lost, for the person you were before them, for the illusion of who you thought they were, for the relationship you believed in that never really existed. But alongside that grief is something else. Possibility. The possibility that you can rebuild. that you can create a life where you don't have to walk on eggshells, where you don't have to beg for basic decency, where you're celebrated, not tolerated, where you're free. This is your awakening. It's messy and painful and beautiful all at once. It's the moment you stop living in their reality and start creating your own. It's the moment you realize that everything you've been searching for, all the validation, all the love, all the approval, it starts with you. It always did. So if you're feeling this stirring, this shift, this quiet knowing that something inside you is changing, trust it. Feed it. Listen to it. Because this is you coming back to life. This is you remembering who you are underneath all the conditioning and trauma and fear. Something is awakening in you, and that something is the truest version of yourself. The one who knows her worth, who trusts her instincts, who refuses to settle for less than she deserves. Welcome her back. She's been waiting for you. Thanks for being here. If you're feeling this awakening, share what it feels like for you in the comments. Your words might be exactly what someone else needs to hear. And subscribe to keep walking this path of awakening together. You're becoming yourself again.